Introducing DIY Outdoor Kitchen's 3-foot drop-down burner module. This is a 3-foot long module from left to right on the outside of the steel tubes. It's the standard height, 35 inches high, to fit with other modules easily. And it comes with a nice cutout kit for a power burner, and you have a 12-inch drop from here down to there. This is a really beautiful custom module. It's got a lot of pieces. You can see here that we had to install extra VTs on this wall to hold the cement board on the left side, and then you have VTs to hold cement board across the back on the inside here, and VTs to go hold the cement board on this side. It's a lot of pieces. And then you have extra pieces to make a sunken down countertop here with cement board like this. And you can customize the width of this with these telescoping cutout tubes for different size with power burners. Our first step was to assemble the end frames for this drop-down power burner module. The only difference with these end frames, we installed 1, 2, 3 three-way corners and 1 90. You can see there's no three-way corner here. Same with the other side. 3-way corners and 1 90. So that way when you turn this out, the front will be a 90 on this side and a 90 will be on the other side. And then the 3-way corners will face one another, 1, 2, 3, to connect our custom pre-cut length walls. We'll go ahead and do that next. Okay, so we'll go ahead and slip on our length walls. And we'll put 1 screw on each side. You can see here it says 34 1/8, and it's identified with red paint. Another one, 34 1/8 inches long here. Screw it in. Now we'll go ahead and take this one and slide it in. Make sure that your 90 is on the top, and they're both on the same side, the 90s. Then we'll go ahead and screw it in. Another screw there, and we got it. Perfect. I'll go ahead and take our top length wall that's pre-cut 34 1/8 inches with red paint, and we'll go ahead and screw that in. Our next step is to take our pre-cut 22-inch tubes, screw in one ways on the end here with the screw facing the inside when we stand these up. Insert the 3-way corners so it's flush on the inside, and it's going to have a return to the right wall and a return this way to that left wall. We'll go ahead and put a screw here, and then we'll start with the left one. Now we went ahead and measured here. This is a 3-foot module, so we marked the center at 18 inches. And then we had to find our cutout measurements for our power burner. We're using the Blaze Power Burner LTE. They specify a cutout height of 8 inches, width 14 inches, depth 19.5 inches. We're gonna start with the width, 14 inches, that's B, so going across this way. We're gonna add a 1/2 inch for wiggle room to make sure that our power burner will be able to slide in without a problem. So we're gonna make it 14.5 inches our width. So we go from center, we take that cutout width with the wiggle room, 14.5, divided by 2, which in this case will give us 7.25 inches. So we measured 7.25 inches over, and we're gonna go ahead and screw this in here and erect it going up like this. We'll do that now. And we'll go ahead and screw that in. Make sure that when you're screwing it in, see that line you made? It's right flush to the inside like that. See, the line is here, like that. Great, we'll put screws on both sides of the one-way. Perfect. Now our next step will be to cut a piece that goes from here to there. You have to cut that because we don't know what size power burner you're putting in here. So you have to cut this piece on the left and right side. So to cut this steel tubing from here to there, and also from here to there, we take our last length wall, the pre-cut length wall, 34 1/8, and we're gonna use that to cut these custom pieces. We'll go cut the first one now for this side. So to determine the length of how to cut this, we measure from the inside of this to here, and we get 8 7/8, and we take off a fraction of an inch because of the one-way that we're gonna use to secure it on this side. So we'll go just a little bit shorter than, in our situation, the 8 7/8 minus maybe a line or two. So we're screwing in the one way. Now we're screwing in the three-way corner, and we're making it nice and tight here. Great, so now we got this tube screwed into there. Okay, so now what we've done in here, we have this going straight up. We cut our tube, we slipped our tube into position, and what we did was we take our tape measure and we measure up from here to the top, which was 22 7/8, and then we measured from here up to there, and we made sure this is also 22 7/8 before we clamped in the one way here, holding this together. Now we can go ahead and we'll push on this to make it nice and tight, and we'll lock it in with screws, and we'll have a perfectly square left side. Now we take our tape measure and we measure off of the left side, 14 1/2 inches for our particular cutout width. Yours may be different, with the wiggle room, and we'll screw in this right piece to the bottom with our one-ways, and we'll screw it in perfectly at 14 1/2 inch clearance between these two for our rough opening. Take our tape measure and we measure from the inside of the right wall over to the inside of this, and it comes out to just about the same, just a little bit off, 18 3/4. Then we'll take off a little bit for the one way, and we're gonna cut our tube 8 5/8. That's gonna go from here to there. We'll take the piece we just cut, slip a one way in, and we'll put a screw into the one way, so it'll be ready to screw onto this top here. Take our tape measure and we'll measure up on this side and to get the height, and then just duplicate on the right side so this is nice and level. So now we're taking two VTs, installing one ways on each ends. We're taking two CTTs identified with blue paint, and we're putting one ways in one end only. We're going to install the rear VT that's lined up with this VT. So the way we do that is we measured from the inside here to the outside there and got 9 3/4 inches. So we go ahead and use the same process from the inside here to the outside there, 9 3/4 inches, and we position our VT. We take the tape measure up top here and also measure the same way, make sure it's 9 3/4 inches, the same way from the inside here to the outside. So now you can see we have the left side here, and now we're going to go ahead and duplicate that on the right side, same way. Now you can see where we slipped the right side over the three-way corner. We'll go ahead and clamp it in the back. We do the measuring, make sure it's nice and level, and then we'll lock it in with the screws. And now we'll take our two blue CTTs here and our two one-sided one-ways that only have wings on one side, not two. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our one-way and we're going to come up over in this section here on the inside, and we're going to slip our one-way close to that screw head. And come back a little bit so you'll have room for the steel tube to slip in between the screw head and the one-way coupler. And then what you're going to do is you want to get two screws in, one through here in between these returns and one through the hole. So that way you have two screws holding this in place here. And then you'll repeat that on the other side as well. Get as close as you can to the screw head, little bit space back for steel tubing, and get your two screws in. Okay, we're getting our clamp in. Now we can go ahead and screw in that one way, just like we did here on the left side. Here we put our screws on the inside here and here, so that way there's no screws blocking this power burner from sliding in here on the front. Now we take two VTs and one-sided one-ways, and then we're going to screw them in on each end. Make sure the one-sided one-ways are both facing out the same way here, the wings. And these vertical tubes will be going in the rear, the one in the corner there and one in the corner here. So that way we can run a CTT across on the left side and the right side to these extra VTs. It's a lot of parts in this kit. Now take a hammer and knock this VT in so it's straight up and down, and make sure you have that same little spacing between the screw head and the end of the VT. So now that we got it hammered in the position, we'll go ahead and put our screws in. We'll put one on each side here. Or you can even put two in if you want. So at least one you gotta have here. And then also screw in the top as well. Great. And then we'll repeat that on the right side.
Now we're putting it in position. We'll make sure the screw heads are facing in towards the inside here, and we'll hammer it into position. So it's straight up and down and lined up with this one way here.
We're going to go ahead and slip it on the one way here in the front, and we slide in the back, and then we're going to take our measuring tape and we'll measure the same height as the front here to the back, so it's nice and level, and it should be level across to this one on the right. So it's going to make a nice little. Now we'll take two VTs and we'll install one ways in both ends, and these are going to go one here in the corner up and down and one in this corner up and down. The reason for this is when you install your cement board wall here on the inside, you're going to go over this, but right now there's nothing to support the cement board here on this wall. So that's why we're installing another VT here and another VT there, just for the cement board lining on the inside of these walls. It's a lot of parts here to do this. We're going to space about 3 fingers between the VTs here. That should work fine. Now we're ready to install the drop-down burner cutout kit part of this. So we go back to our cutout measurements and we find the height, which in this situation is 8 inches, shown as letter A on the diagram, height. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to subtract a 1/2 inch from our measurement because we're going to put cement board on top of here. We could also subtract for our finishing materials as well, but for this example, we'll just do a 1/2 inch for the cement board, and that's because this is a countertop power burner. It's going to sit on the 3 sides. Now, if you have a power burner like Lynx or DCS that sits on a platform, The platform is not included in this kit. You'd have to buy that separately, and you wouldn't calculate the 1/2 inch for cement board on the top because there would be a 1/2 inch of cement board on the shelf and a 1/2 inch here keeping it even. So what we're doing here is for a countertop power burner with no shelf here, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and take our height, 8 inches minus a 1/2 equals 7.5 inches. We'll come over here and we'll take our tape measure, measure down and make a mark at 7.5 inches on both sides, and then install our telescoping below the power burner tubes in here, which we have laid out here. It gets males into the 25 by 25 millimeter side, and it gets our welded females that slip over the 21 millimeter side. Just about all cutout kits are telescoping now for the width to make it easier and less cutting. He's got it here, and he's just going to make a mark at 7.5 inches. And he'll do the same thing on the other tube here. Just like that. 7.5. Yours will be whatever measurement you calculate from your cutout measurements. I'll go ahead and screw these in, these one-ways, into the telescoping tubes here. This is really great because there's no cutting needed. Let me screw the females in on the 21 millimeters. You'll see how they slip over, whereas the other one slipped inside. Great. So now we'll slip them together, and then we'll position it to those marks just like we said here. Just like that. So the top here goes to the line, top to the line. We clamp them in place, and then we'll screw it in. Don't forget to also get a screw behind here as well to hold the tube together. Just like that. And that's called below the grill tube. It's telescoping. So there was no cutting needed. So now we're going to go ahead and put behind the power burner tube with our telescoping tubes. We'll go ahead back to our cutout diagram, and we'll find the depth. The depth is specified 19.5 inches and shown as letter C here from back to front. You can see it right there. So now, because we're going to add cement board on the front of the module, a 1/2 inch thick, this time we're going to subtract a 1/2 inch from this 19.5 or whatever measurement you have, and it'll equal 19 in our situation. So then we'll go ahead and take our tape measure, measure from the front of the frame back 19.5 inches, and draw a line on both sides here so we know where to position our behind the tube parts. Now we're going to go ahead and clamp this in with the screw heads facing down, and so you can see that the inside of this tube is to the mark here. So from here to there is the cutout depth. From the front of this to the inside of this is cutout depth. And we'll just screw it right in. Now we're going to go ahead and put a screw in the back here to lock the tubes together. Perfect. Now you can see that we have a nice cutout frame for the power burner to drop in here at a 12-inch drop down. Very nice. So now we're assembling this the last telescoping parts here. And we're going to position it in this space here to support the cement board better. It's telescoping, and we have the screw heads down. Get it as far back as you can, touching these screw heads there. That's great. And then we'll just screw it in. And you can see how that'll make a nice support for the cement board countertop here. You see we clamped it in place here, and we're screwing it in. Great.